Hi, we're Matt and Holly.
And in this video, we're going to be testing out the new 250 series Prado and how it goes towing. Would we tow up to our GCM? I'm going to be honest, I reckon, I don't know. Yeah, my foot's flat now.
To be honest, it feels like our old Hilux driving through this stuff.
We are on our way north at the moment to one of our favourite parts of Australia, going up to Tiwa, Double Island Point. Yep. It's been a while since we've been here.
Yeah, we haven't been here since 2019, which is pretty exciting.
And we've got our new little van with us, our 13-foot Signature Iridium, and we're towing it with the new 250 series Prado. This isn't really a comparison video, we're not comparing it to anything else, but if you do want to see that, just comment below, tell us what you'd like to see. We're going to be doing a bit of on-road stuff, we're going to be doing a bit of off-road stuff, a bit of beach driving. We really want to see how the Prado goes because this new Prado has a updated sort of 2.8 litre engine that everyone kind of knows. It's got the mild hybrid, the 48 volt assisted engine, so we're going to see how that goes. It also has the new 8-speed auto, which we're really curious to see how that runs and how it sort of goes through the rev range and actually works, especially in tow haul mode as well. We're going to go weigh the car now to see how much it weighs in total with the van, and then we'll fuel up so we can get some really accurate fuel figures of how it all goes. So we're just pulling onto the weighbridge now. I'm really curious to see how much this whole package weighs because it's always more than you think. I didn't count us yesterday. I'm a bit of a fatty, so we'll see. Here we go. 5.18 without me in it, so 5.28 with me in it. So at 5.28 tonnes and only half a tank of fuel, something I think is really interesting is the brake towing capacity of the Prado is 3.5 tonne. Now that van back there is only 2 tonnes, so if you had your sort of bigger vans, we would be, as we are, right on our GCM, which is 6.6 for this car, 6,600.
Not to mention, our car is still very stock. The only thing we have done to it is tyres.
Yep, slightly bigger tyres.
We don't have a bull bar, we don't have a draw system in the rear, which is all stuff that we're planning on doing. So, yeah.
You're going to really have to watch it. If you want to tow the max that this car can do, you're going to be pushing it for accessories and things that you want on the car if you are doing that longer term touring. When Holly and I ordered this car, there was no information out about those facts and figures. So it was a big risk for us. We had a fair idea of sort of what it was going to be or what Toyota would be aiming for. But now that it's all out, the GVM is
3,100
for the GX.
Yes, which is what we have.
And 3,200 for the Kakadu and some of the higher spec variants. I think that would just be so they have the same sort of payload across the range, but they have, you know, extra features in it like third rower seats and just more gear in them. So they're going to need that extra bit of weight. But it's the same GCM across the range. So the GX actually has 100 kilos more GCM than your upper spec variants, which is something to consider, I think, if you want to buy it. Now, would I tow with that, with this car? I'm going to be honest, I reckon Toyota, that was the figure they wanted to hit. I reckon it's more for marketing and to say, yes, it can do it. Would I do it though? Honestly, I don't know. Feeling how this feels, it feels really good, but this is a pretty light little van.
Yeah.
I don't know, something really, really big. I just don't know about towing something that weighs more than the vehicle towing it. It just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. I don't know, physics. Physics isn't on your side there. With a GCM of 6,600 kilos, with a 3.5 tonne van, geez, it's going to be hard to have really much payload for anything at all. So, definitely something to consider if you're thinking about towing such a big van with this car. So we're just going to fill the tank up fully now, just to determine our fuel usage. When the fuel light comes on, we'll fill up again, see how many Ks we've done, figure out our litres per 100 that way. We'll cross-reference it with what the car's telling us. One difference with these Prados, it has a 110 litre fuel tank, which is different from the previous models, which had a bit more, around 150 litre fuel tank if you have the tyre on the door. So it's just going to be interesting to see what fuel economy we get with the 8-speed auto and also with the 48-volt assisted battery.
So we're just going to pull out onto the road and do a speed test. So we're stationary at the moment and we'll just see how long it takes us to get up to 80 and 100. Okay, so we're already at 40. Slight increase uphill, but not much. 60, 70, and we're at 80 now. Now 90, 95, and 100.
It seems really good from 0 to 80, and then it seems to lose a bit of puff at 80 to 100 when it's going up those gears.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good considering we're towing.
Yeah.
For a little 4-banger. This car does have a tow haul mode, which I'm in now. Essentially, it just changes the way the gearbox is working. It'll hold gears for longer. It'll engine brake when it's going downhill more. And it won't go into a top gear. It won't go into 8th, I believe, on the highway. So you can kind of see the difference now. If I'm on the highway now, I'm on the road. If I hit it. So just dropped about 500 revs and hit it again and it just revs straight back up. So yeah, it's just, we always use it in tow haul. You're probably going to get, well, you will get better fuel economy, way better for your transmission, and it will just tow better, just for actually towing the load properly. So we've done about 7 hours driving to get here today, and we're really curious to see how fatigued I feel after towing for that long. Now, we're coming from some pretty old vehicles. We've done an old Hilux, a 40 series, and even a 70 series recently. And I can say, compared to those, this thing is absolutely sublime. Even though it's the GX model, so you're getting your cloth seats and not too many creature comforts, I was not fatigued at all. It towed beautifully. I actually felt better in this after 7 hours than I would 7 hours in our 70 series. So I think the comfort, even from the lower spec models, is absolutely fantastic. So before we jump on the ferry to head across to Tiwa, we're going to make a little bit of lunch and we'll see what Holly reckons. So what do you reckon about the comfort of the Prado so far?
It's really nice.
I was saying it's a bit better than the 70 series.
Yeah, so much better.
It's a new car
it doesn't
as
even
well.
really feel like we've travelled that far, even though we have done 7 hours today. I feel good, I feel fresh. And we've always said that's a bit of an issue when we travel, especially when we film and stuff. We get to camp and we usually don't want to do anything, whereas, I don't know, I could keep going.
Yeah, I agree.
Good. So, yeah.
And you've done a bit of driving as well?
Yeah, I have.
How are you finding towing?
Yeah, it feels good. I probably need to get my confidence up a little bit. But
I think you're going pretty well.
Thanks.
I think you're smashing.
Thanks. Perfect, let's have this and then carry on.
Yeah, get on the beach. Beach towing. We've never done that.
No.
That's new for us.
No, that will be interesting.
So that'll be a real test. I was getting really interested to see how the Prado will tow on sand. But at the same time, I was a bit apprehensive as well. This is a new car and I've never towed anything on a beach before. Also, the tides have been very high this time of year, which is another factor to consider. Oh well, I suppose we'll find out how it goes soon enough.
Alright, so we have just come across the ferry.
And we are heading towards the entrance of the beach.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, how do you think we're going to go on the beach towing?
Well, as I said, this is our first time towing on the beach.
Yep.
We've done plenty of beach driving before, plenty of sand driving, all manuals. I've only ever driven manuals on the beach, so
that's right,
an auto. I'm actually pretty excited for an auto. I mean, you know, if autos are great in sand, you know, if the revs are starting to get low, like, you know, sometimes changing gears can really bog you down.
Yeah.
Whereas an auto is going to do that automatically for you. So I'm really excited to sort of see how that goes. Honestly, my predictions are with this van and how big it is, it should smash it. It should smash it. Anyway, famous last words if we get hopelessly bogged. Prado is practically stock. One thing we have changed though is the tyres. We've gone for a slightly bigger tyre. So these are a 285 65 18 and the stock are a 265 65 18. We've kept the stock rims. I'm happy with those. So we've got a slightly taller tyre, around a 33 inch or a slightly smaller. So that will give us a bit of a benefit, but we have the stock suspension. So our clearance isn't fantastic. So if there's one thing that I think is going to hinder us on the beach, it's going to be that, especially on the entrance. There's some pretty big ruts. My tyre pressures were roughly around 20 PSI in the van and the rear of the Prado and 18 in the front of the Prado. I could go lower if need be, but the sand wasn't too soft today. But pressures when towing is definitely something I need to figure out. Alright, so I'm just about to head onto the beach. So I've got it in 4 low and the centre diff is locked. Now, you can't turn tow haul mode on and traction control is automatically turned off in 4 low. We'll see how we go. Well, that was no effort at all. Absolutely no effort. Felt fine. I barely had my engine load was around 15-20, so it was barely working at all. Easy, easy, easy. So there you go. You can't do tow haul in 4 low. So that's good to know. So now that we've made it onto the beach, that was no worries. I've changed it over to 4 high. We just don't need low range at the moment, I think. So yeah, we'll head up the beach now and see how it goes.
See how it goes rolling?
See our EGTs, see the engine load, see how it works, trans temp and everything on the beach.
And then the next tricky bit will probably be getting up onto like the grass section for a camp. It's usually pretty soft there.
Yeah, it's a good point. The adventure isn't over yet. We've still got a bit to do. Right, honestly, our EGTs are staying really good. I mean, we're not going fast. We're only going 30 k's an hour on this softer stuff. But yeah, it's handling it no worries. It's actually, the EGTs are lower than when we were just driving on road. Yeah, my foot's flat now. So, she's working. About 600 on the EGTs. Trans temp is creeping up a bit to 91.
To be honest, it feels like our old Hilux driving through this stuff. It says we weigh like 5 tonne.
I have to admit, I really like the automatic in the sand. It is just so easy. It's just so easy to control the car. It's picking the revs and it's doing a really good job of it as well. Yeah, I'm liking it. EGTs now are sitting around 370 degrees. Between 370 and 400. We're just cruising in between 60 and 80 k's an hour on the beach. We're in high 4 in tow haul mode with the centre diff locked, so it's pretty cruisy stuff. It's easy going, but yeah, the car feels great. It's not working too hard at all. So this little van has independent suspension. It's pretty robust. It's got the Tough Dog shocks, and it's just behaving really, really nicely behind me. It doesn't bounce around much at all after we go over bumps, and doesn't bounce around side to side. Yeah, it's actually really, really nice to drive. So we've just flicked over to low range because we are at zone 7 now, which is our campsite, and it could be a little bit soft on the entry, so we're just going to pop up and get set up.
So it doesn't look too soft. There's heaps of grass on it though. There's a bit of a step up.
So we've set up camp, we got the van here. I think at the end of the day, the bark was worse than the bite in the terms of getting onto the beach and towing on the beach.
Yes.
It was fine. The car absolutely smashed it. As far as performance, the auto, I was really happy with how it went. I feel it just revved really nicely in tow haul in high 4, and then just in low range, it was revving really well.
So just explain to me, you can't use tow haul in low range?
No, but yeah, it sort of seemed to work really, really well in both modes. I love the auto. As I said, I haven't had an auto on the beach before, so it was fantastic. Super easy to drive. The EGT's got a bit higher. At some points we were up near 600. I think these 4 cylinders, that's just how they run. They just run a bit hotter. I'm comparing it to the Troopy, and that would sort of sit in the mid 300s or low 300s. So they just run a bit hotter, these things, but that's just how it is. It did it no worries though. I reckon you could, a bigger van, easy.
Yeah.
16, 18 foot vans, be absolutely no worries.
I think it would be interesting though if you went bigger still around your 22 foot on very soft sand. That, I don't know how that would go.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll have to test it.
We'll have to test it out. But we're here now, we're all set up. It's a beautiful camp and we're here for a couple of days.
Yep.
Set up like this, can't beat it. We've got the shower, we've got the big camp kitchen. So yeah, really excited to hang out for a few days and maybe kick the feet up, have a drink.
Sounds good.
Over the next few days, we relaxed on the beach and went exploring in the new Prado around the local area. We have a full travel video about this coming out on our channel soon. So if you're curious to see what there is to do and see in the area, definitely check that one out. Just like that, we're all packed up. We'll get off the beach, see how the Prado goes getting off the beach. Some low range, so it's nice and controlled. The aircon's good.
It is so good.
One of the comforts in a car that is a must is aircon.
Yeah.
Because we've travelled without aircon.
Did it, no worries.
Yeah, no, the van, it behaves really well off-road, just the way it steps down on things, the suspension, the independent, it's really nice. Easy.
All right, we'll carry on. So we are back on the beach, obviously towing again. We are going to keep an eye on our EGTs and trans temps again, just to see, because we obviously were able to drive yesterday without the van, just to compare.
Yeah, just to compare and see how it goes. We're back in tow haul mode in 4 high. And we'll drive in some of the softer stuff and we'll give it a real test. Yeah. So our trans temps on the beach have gone up to about 100 and they've gone up one little notch on our dash gauge. So not too bad really, I think it's still within a pretty safe operating temperature. Again, we really want to push it and go up some hills because we have heard that some people are having a few issues with some heavier vans, so we really want to try and test it out. We started to head up into the hinterlands west of Noosa, where there are plenty of very long, steep hills to test the Prado out. So we're currently going up a very steep and very windy mountain road. And it's going to be interesting to see what the transmission temperatures do here. We really are trying to push it. I want to get the temperatures up. I want to see what it can do. But at the moment, it's sitting pretty. So there's been a few videos online of the transmission temperatures in people's Prados rising as they're towing. So as you can see, we're at the top of this mountain range here. We've gone up a really windy, steep road. We've driven it really hard on the beach in low range, and we've really tried to get those transmission temperatures up. And try as we might, we just haven't managed it. So we do have slightly larger tyres on. They're 285, 65, 18, so that's going to be a factor as well. But as I said, we just haven't managed to get the temperatures up really beyond that halfway point, slightly above it. The hottest we have got the temperature is 110 on the scan gauge, which is only slightly above halfway on the gauge in the car. So I think this van is just too light and the car's handling it no worries. But we will continue to do it on the highway, and we do have some really long, steep hills on the way back home, and we'll give it a really good test then.
So we're just going up a really steep hill out of Tenterfield. I've set cruise to 100 in tow haul mode, and we're just monitoring the trans temps, but they haven't moved from 96.
EGTs are up around 640 at the moment. Engine loaded 100, coolant's jumped up to 94. Trans temps only going up to 97. So we're working the engine right now. We're working it pretty hard. Trans temps fine. Try as we might, we just couldn't get the transmission temperatures up to what we have seen happen with other people's setups. Those setups are about 400 to 500 kilograms heavier, and that must be the difference needed to get those temperatures up. We will continue to test this in the near future when we get a bigger van, so stay tuned for that. Alrighty, time to fill up after our trip. The fuel light has come on. Pass says we've been doing 18.5 litres per 100, which I think would probably be about right, but we'll check the actual fuel usage right now. All right, I've just figured it out. So we got 18.9 litres per 100. The car is saying 18.5, so the car's a liar. The driving we did a lot of filming, which means we're stopping, starting, turning around. We were driving in soft sand. We were really pushing it up hills. We also unhitched quite a few times and explored and drove around. I think it is a good indication of what you're going to be getting if you're traveling and you're going to be, on the beach and doing those kind of environments. And I think realistically you could probably get a litre less per 100 if you weren't driving it like we were. But yeah, 18.9, so it's pretty high. But yeah, that's what you get when you're towing. So our first couple of days towing has come to an end. We've done a bit of beach, we've done a bit of bush.
Yep.
It's been a really good introduction to towing, I think. We've had the smaller little van, we have the new car. It's been a big learning process, and we have learned a lot over the past couple of days.
Yep.
The Prado, how did it go?
Well, considering I didn't drive much, I think it went well. So how did you find it?
Okay, well, let's put it into perspective. It's a little van. If it couldn't tow this van, well, I'd be worried, because it's rated to tow 3.5 tonne.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after all this, I think that is more marketing from Toyota. It can do it.
Well,
should you do it?
Yeah.
That's another question. I think ultimately with the Prado like this is you're going to be towing, if you want to go off-road like we have, I reckon up to a 16, little hybrid van, it's going to absolutely smash it. And for the price, say comparing it to a 300, a GX like this, you're saving $24,000. I think that's a lot of room to play with extra features on your van or accessories for the car.
Yeah.
So there's that to consider. And if you're towing a bigger van, just on road around to your caravan parks, bitumen, it'd be fine for that.
Yeah.
I might sound like I'm underwhelmed. I'm not. It went really well. It did absolutely everything I could ask.
But you kind of expect it to as well, being
Yeah.
a Prado and being that price point,
and being
right?
$80,000 for the
Yeah.
GX, like on roads. So it's not a cheap car at all. There's other options out there, like your Ford Everest with the V6, and that's got more power. It's got more punch in it. So it went as good as I expected it to go.
Yes, yep.
If that makes sense. As I said, I don't want to sound like I'm underwhelmed or I'm like, taking a dose of copium here to, justify my big purchase. It did everything we asked of it. It did it well.
It didn't get stuck. We never got bogged.
Didn't get stuck. The 8-speed was really nice on the beach. It worked through the gears well. It revved well. Even when we were really pushing it in the soft sand, it moved through it all right. Like as I said, we didn't get stuck.
And we also did try really hard to get our trans temps up.
Yeah, we did. Because as we said in the video, we have heard about some people are having issues with bigger setups. They're not that much bigger. So we have been really trying to get these transmission temperatures up, and we just haven't managed it.
But we are small. Like it's a 13
small
foot
van.
van. Yeah.
If the transmission temperatures were going up on a van like this,
You'd be worried.
oh, you'd be really worried.
You'd be annoyed probably after spending $80,000.
Yeah, look, it worked really well. I am keen to go up a size. I want to jump in a 16-foot hybrid. Now that we've figured this out, I want to get something a bit bigger, and I want to tow with the Prado. Comment below, where do you want to see us go maybe next? I'm thinking a Murray-Darling River run, maybe around New South Wales, that sort of top corner, up in that region. So I'm really keen to maybe go up there, and I want to tow something a bit bigger now that we've got our confidence up and we've kind of figured out what works.
And you're
with
quite
us.
confident with moving this around,
Super
turning
fixed,
around. Yeah.
13 foot, it was nothing to tow, to maneuver around in tight spots. So I'm happy to go something a bit bigger. Look, it went really well. I think if you've got a small to mid-sized hybrid or caravan, it's a great option.
Yep.
It's perfect. If you like your Toyotas, if you like the dealer networks, the parts, probably the reliability of the engine, that's sort of not quite, with the 48 volt, who actually knows, but, I would hope it's good like it has been in the past. So if you have been thinking about Toyota, yeah, I think it's a great option.
So that wraps up our tow test with the new 250 Prado.
So if you have been thinking about getting one of these new 250 Prados, I hope that was informative. If you do have any questions specifically you want answered, comment below and we'll do our best to answer them. Also, if there's anything else you can think of that would be good to test out, again, comment below and we'll get onto it in the next video. But if you like that, give us a thumbs up, like it, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.